Data collection methods. Data collection is a process of collecting information from all the relevant sources to find the answers to the research problem, test the hypothesis. If you are following a deductive approach, then you will have a hypothesis. You test that and you evaluate the outcomes. So when you are at a point in your research study where now it's time to collect relevant data, there are various ways you can do that depending on the research problem you have picked for your study, and those data collection methods can be divided into two categories: primary methods of data collection and secondary method of data collection. We'll see those in detail, what each data collection method means and the different approaches and procedures taken, which would help you to pick the right kind of tool for your research problem. Primary data is the type of data which has not been around before. It is the type of data which would be absolutely new and will be generated for the very first time. Primary data is unique findings of your research which you have conducted. Primary data collection and analysis typically requires more time and effort to conduct compared to the secondary data research, because it's the new data which needs to be analyzed and the findings have to be produced for the audience to understand. So primary data collection methods again can be divided into two groups: quantitative and qualitative. Quantitative data collection methods are based on mathematical calculations in various formats. So you use different types of statistical techniques and mathematical calculations to come to a conclusion of your data, of your quantitative data. The methods of quantitative data collection and analysis would include questionnaires, which has closed-ended questions. Then it will use methods of correlation and regression, mean, mode, and median. Quantitative methods are usually cheaper to apply because they can be applied within a shorter duration of time compared to qualitative methods, which are usually very broad, in terms of implementation. Moreover, due to a high level of standardization of quantitative methods, it is easier to make comparisons of findings. Now, qualitative research methods do not involve any numbers or any mathematical calculations. It is very closely associated with words, sounds, feeling, emotion, colors, elements, pictures, everything which is non-quantifiable. You cannot produce all these data in numbers. These are all just elements which are not non-quantifiable. Qualitative studies aim to ensure a greater level of depth of understanding, and qualitative data collection method will include interviews, questionnaires which can have open-ended questions, focus groups, observation, games or role-playing, case studies. So these are the different methods of collection of the qualitative data. Now, your choice between quantitative or qualitative method of data collection will depend on the area of your research and the nature of research aims and objectives. So it will entirely depend on the topic you have chosen, first of all. Then it will depend on what your objectives and aims are. For a particular topic, your aim and objective could be pretty concentrated on exactly for a very small topic, or it can be very large, vague. Your aim for the research would be to gather a very broad amount of knowledge to to come to a conclusion of something which is, which has not been understood or studied before. Secondary data is a type of data which has already been published in books, newspapers, magazines, journals, and there is an abundance of data available in these sources about your research area, because this topic has already been covered, and that's why the data is available. It is sort of useful in starting with your primary data collection method, because you have to gather the knowledge first which is already out there. You don't want to repeat your study, and that's why second analysis and searching the literature review, as in say, which comes under secondary data collection method, is very important. It's a very important stage of the research process, because we have to read a lot of material to understand where the level what is the status of the research problem I have picked, because I want to find something which is new, which will add to the volume of knowledge. So, and that is why it is also very important. Another reason for it is being important to select an appropriate secondary data, because it will play a very important role in terms of increasing the levels of research validity and reliability, which I was discussing in the previous video about research validity and reliability, that how important it is to have an accurate instrument which is able to give you the exactly the answers which you want for your research question. And that's why having a thorough idea of your secondary data is very important. So secondary data collection method will offer you a range of advantages, such as saving time, effort, and expenses. However, the disadvantage is that secondary research will not make any contribution to the expansion of the literature by producing any new data. So that's all about today's video. See you again with a new topic.